There they go.
Oh,
I had to drop one
why?
cyst. One cyst like made it figure out the hive was there.
I
I
mean, these
didn't
were
know.
working. The Scarpus and the Celerity weren't dying, but the ones in the hall were dying. Like, the aura
Uh,
of the hive was working except for the glow factor.
that's annoying.
Hello there, everybody. Bass here with some NS2 update info. I have been playing the new update, the Gorgeous patch, as Unknown Worlds is calling it. The Gorgeous patch. For I actually don't know how long. A few hours with Roofy. You may know him from other videos. I have just created my own server because the Explorer mode does not let me actually pick a map. As buggy as that is, the little arrows aren't there. I can't change the map on the Explorer mode. Maybe it's just me. But that is an oddly square hole. The problem... let me start again with that. This patch was... According to Unknown Worlds, this is a expansion, a free expansion, in which they added a few things. I mean, they added lighting effects and graphical effects, and fixed, obviously, as always, developer bugs and, you know, map editor bugs and that kind of thing. And then there were various bug fixes and things that were added with previous patches, and that's always to be expected. But the important things were that they added, and without going into a server with other people, I can't really do anything. This is the new map, by the way. By the way, this is the new map. It has a lot of vertical aspects to it. It's quite interesting. I don't know how it's gonna balance out. I haven't even... Every time I wander around, I end up going in circles without looking at the map. I'm not used to the map. After a while, I'm sure it'll be different, but... Anyways, back to what I was saying. The new patch added Gorge abilities. Well, let's start with the Marines. The Marines added one thing. Single-armed arcs. Cost 50 resources. Both single-arm arcs cost 50. I must have missed the patch note just when they... Missed the patch notes when they went from 45 to 50, but... They cost 50 resources, and they are... Well, they're railgun arcs. Instead of a chain gun, they have a railgun. And it does weird damage that I know just from playing that damage is not accurately reported. I don't know what it's at, but I dealt 700 damage to a Gorge with a railgun, and it didn't die. I don't know if that's the numbers that are popping up that were weird, or if maybe it was the circumstances and it was just human error on my part, but there's no way that Gorge should have survived that. It was weird. But that's the one thing that was added to the Marine side. To the alien side, Gorge's gut in the Gorgeous patch. And they got two things. They got anuses, because Gorges need anuses. And they got little shits that come out of... Well, they don't come out of the anuses, but they got little shits. So they got babbles, which are... I'd really like to demonstrate it, but as I said, maybe I'll tag something on the end of this with me in a game with some other people doing some stuff. Babbles. She's little crustacean looking things that run around. Now the bug I found with the babbles, not really a bug, their AI is just terrible. And so, say I'm a Gorge and I spawn babbles here. So I spawn them, I've healed them, the eggs up, they've hatched. And they're following me as the Gorge who spawned them. And I run over here. Now by this point, they have barely made it out of that room. This is following me. So, okay. There is a... look for a tech point. That looks pretty cool. But there is a... say there's a marine base over there in launch control. Or in Shuttle Bay, there's launch control. And I spawn a bunch of little babbles here. And I want to fling them over... okay, this is a bad example. Maybe here. At the bottom of these stairs, I was thinking that wall, which doesn't quite appear on the map as a thing. So spawn them here. And I go up here and I fling the little spore thing. It'll take them probably 10 seconds to make their way up to the little food bit. By that time, they kind of stream in as a little stream. They don't behave the way you would expect them to. Like, you'd expect them to just like, oh, I flung the thing. They ravenously come up here and go after it. No, it's kind of like, as they notice it, they wander after. They don't behave the way I would expect them to. They're really quite decent for defense. So if I'm a Gorge defending a spot and I've got... oh, quiet down now, Command Chair. If I was a Gorge defending a spot and, you know, you put Hydras around and you spawned a bunch of them, they would work pretty well as a nice little swarm to help defend the... whatever you're defending. But as an offensive unit, they really don't work very well. Maybe if you had like a ton of Skulks and Onoses and, you know, just your whole team running in there behind you, or not behind you, but you don't want to go in front of you, and then you send the babbles in maybe on them, because you can cling them to people. Only 3 at a time, maybe more for larger life forms. I didn't quite test that, but it's 3 as far as I've seen on most things. 3 on Gorges, 3 on Skulks, 3 on Fades, I think. Pretty sure I tested that. Oh, here you go. Little Gorgy plushies. Gorgy! Gorgies for the Gorgy patch that's got bugs out the wazoo. And yeah. So they don't path the way I want. They don't path the way I would expect either. Want or expect. Really more of just expect. The way I want would be just OP. The way I expect would be powerful, but the way they are is just a waste of my one resource. I wouldn't spend one resource on them unless I was defending. So, especially since I have to heal them up, and chances are I'm gonna die if somebody shows up while I'm healing something up for rapid defense. Anyways, moving along, the other Gorge thing, the anus, the conduit, the nidus worm, the whatever you want to call it, tunnel under the ground that has 2 anuses. In a game I was playing earlier, we had fabrication and we had monorail. And I put, so somebody had already put an anus here, or was it somewhere around here? Somebody had put an anus. And they had put their other anus at monorail. We also had launch control. So I put my anus, actually I started over in launch control, but I put the second anus here, as to not get it confused with the first one from the other dude. And then I put my second one, if I can make my way over to launch control. Bear with me as I wander my way around the new map. Let's take this lower pass. Okay, that's a hole. Yeah, as I make my way over here, I made that one where I said I did behind the RT, so it was kind of protected, and ow, you dickus. And I put the other one somewhere like here. I don't quite remember where. It was somewhere over in this general area. And then the game progressed, and I don't know if I died several times. I probably did die a little bit. But I'm not sure what exactly transpired. But they didn't die. Neither of the anuses died. And then I couldn't use them. They weren't the only ones. I couldn't use any of the ones on the map. So let me clarify that. I could use them. I could walk into them. So you walk over it, and it does this little thing, and it sucks you into the anus, and you're in this little colon, and you crawl through the colon, and you come out the other side. Except for me, when I crawled through the colon, the other end was dark. It wasn't lit. And the sphincter was clenched like you wouldn't believe, and you couldn't leave the thing. And this happened with not only my own, which still had two ends, but other people's, which also had two ends. And that's quite a bug when the thing you implemented for the patch that was a big deal doesn't work right. And the little babbles didn't work right. And it's like, things got added, and there's problems with them. I would like them fixed. Because we went from a game that I liked playing that worked fairly well. I mean, it always had bugs. The skulk things are actually... The skulk fixes made them so much easier to shoot. And that could be bad for pro play. But for casual play, that's spectacular. Pro play? Whenever you get pro players in a game, shotguns, it's just, they're untouchable. They just shoot everything they see. And you end up with somebody who's like 24-1, and now it's easier to hit skulks. That's gonna be ridiculous. But for normal players, it should be good. Weird. That is not the way that vent connects to the thing. Whoever does these maps really could use some just general little just detail fixes, especially like on cave. Cave is really bad for it. This map's got a few spots. That connection's fine, but the one over like hydrolysis up to receiving, is that the one? Or is it shuttle bay up to the launch control? One of those doesn't have two. It's like, it's a solid wall with one doorway. It looks like a two. Yeah, that's not a door. It looks like one on the map. That kind of thing needs to be fixed too. Especially for a new map where you're trying to find your way around. Or new player, you're trying to find your way around and you're like, wait, but that's a dead end. How am I supposed to get through that? I have just started kind of rambling on. These were the major changes. The Gorge, two things, the babbles, the anuses with colons to transfer, kind of like phase gates, but you only get two per Gorge. And I don't know if changing out of Gorge caused the problem, or dying caused the problem, but something caused a problem where they did not work at all. The lines disappeared off the map. But other people, I still had no lines, and other people could use them. Whereas for me, they were a different thing. And a Marine entered the one while I was there. I went inside one as we were losing. I went inside one just to hide out. And a Marine entered. And he just sat at the opening, jiggling, if you know what I mean, where he's just like, his gun's just jiggling in his hands, like he's doing the entry motion. And he just sat there, and as a Gorge, I killed him. It took a moment, because I was a Gorge. And all that happened was his gun fell out of his hands, and he just sat there jiggling. Now, maybe he crashed, or I don't know what, but it could be he had a similar bug to what I did with the, I don't know what to call them, anuses, the colons, the traveling colons, the Gorge tubes. But it could be he was in a different one, and he just appeared there because I had apparently just entered one that was separate from everyone else's. Because no lines appeared on the map, and nothing occurred. So, right. This is enough rambling. I am sure of it. This is enough wandering around the map, getting utterly lost. It's subconsciously sinking in the layout. Subconscious. If I have one. Who knows? I may have barely a superconscious, much less a subconscious. Conscious and subconscious. No superconscious is loud. Excuse me. Oh, don't tell me the map's all weird here too. Are you serious? Who makes these maps? Why doesn't that appear as a wall? Why doesn't this appear as a wall with a hole in it? And why does this appear as everything else over here? The stairwell, the window, and the solid wall are all exactly the same. I mean, veteran players know their way around maps, but new players and new maps? No. That needs to be fixed. So, the new patch had a bunch of bugs, and me and my friend, which have been playing since launch, quite consistently, at least every weekend, often hours during the week, lots of videos on here. We were playing this and there's just so many bugs that we're like, oh god, this is getting real buggy and weird, and I'm not sure I want to keep playing it. It's gotten to the point where like the bugs are so terrible for multiplayer, because bugs in a single player game, yeah, they're fine. Bugs in a multiplayer game, they can just wreck. This isn't even on the map. How is this not on the map? At all. This mess was rushed to develop. Or rushed to release. Why? Yeah, as I was saying, event doesn't even come out where it says it does. I guess it kind of ends where it says, whatever. Yeah, as I was saying, I'm sure I'm not the only person, and well, the two of us aren't the only people who are like, ew, this is really buggy, and we gotta sit here and play this buggy mess until they fix it. I think I'm gonna go play something else, which we're probably gonna go play something else here. It's just fix it. Just fix it. I don't care if you have to roll back this patch. Fix it. Maybe it's just me. I don't think it is. Maybe it is. I wish I was able to record my recording software decided to bug out. All I have is, oh right, the other bug. The other, I guess it's a bug. So I have, let me show you. Options. Graphics. I have everything turned off. Except for multi-core because it got 2 GPUs. Decal limit. Whatever. Infestation minimal. The other thing, which I have other video footage, and I'll tack it on the end of this, has the infestation. Oh, I'm so far from the hive. The infestation turns black on the walls, and it's not just this map. I had thought it might have been. I was hoping it might have been this map. It's got to be something with the lighting effects or something, because the infestation in the at least 2D. So I'm just using the textured because the 3D one looks kind of shit, and it's okay until you get to like a railing where there's like a flying saucer on the railing of green goo. It's a little railing. Giant flying saucer. But let's see if there's any in here. But when it's on the walls and places, it is just pitch black. Like just tar on the wall. And it looks like it was put on by somebody using MS Paint. Not that this doesn't already look like somebody putting on MS Paint. And I swear some of these are like reflections things. It's a really weird way it's handled. It's like it's a lighting effect. I've seen crates where it's just like a triangle of light hitting that surface. I don't know how it's handled, but some of it's black. Utterly black when it does it. And I have a little bit of one where it was like black to brown. Oh, there we go. That is infestation. It looks like it's just like thrown up there with somebody using MS Paint. It's actually a little different from the last time I recorded it. I'm still going to attack the stuff on the end, but as you can see, there's infestation coming over here, and it goes up, and it turns black. You can see a little bit of texture in there, but just this is wrong. This is bad. It doesn't look good at all. Not that the regular infestation. Not that that looks good. But that looks even worse. Let me see. If this cuts out, I will edit it together. Where's the infestation? Rich. Oh. So the rich infestation does not have the problem. I just have a problem with this. And I've also had problems with... I've had aliens hiding inside the infestation where you can't even see them. Like, oh, there's a whole glob of those just discs sticking out into a space. And you just crawl into it. And you can just sit in there and shoot people or bite people or whatever. And no one can see you. If they point right at you, they get a, you know, the health bar over your head. That's it. It's the only way they can find you unless they scan and see the little... But even if they scan, if you're within line of sight, the little circle doesn't appear. Because the infestation doesn't count as blocking line of sight. Because it doesn't. Because it's not actually there. So yeah, that's why I have that turned off. But for those of us who have it turned off for the reasons I described here... Fix that. It looks real bad. What are you dying for? I haven't even started the game. Okay. Your cyst dying problem may not have been fixed. Actually, all these cysts are dying. That one's not. Is it? Is it missing bars? I hate those bars. I can't tell. It doesn't look like it. That one doesn't look like it. Yeah, so the one feeding the harvester hasn't. I haven't hopped in the command chair. I can't start the game. It's just me. This cyst's almost dead. It's even hemorrhaging shiny goo. More bugs. More bugs, yeah. So, I hope these get fixed. I'll be playing again, I'm sure, at some point, just to check back, see if they're fixed, if nothing else. I have been Bass, and this was quite disappointing for such an exciting patch. But I am out.
What is this? It looks like Infestation, except it's on the wall. It's incredibly dark, and it looks like somebody did it with a paintbrush. In paint. Not in... What is that? More! More!